Imagine transforming your life in just 1 week. Sounds impossible, right? Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. Thanks to some powerful Stoic habits, I've experienced a complete mindset overhaul, and I can't wait to share these life-changing tips with you. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be ready to take on anything life throws at you with the wisdom of the Stoics. Let's dive in. Number 1. Cultivate a view from above. Alright, picture this. You're having one of those days where everything feels like it's falling apart. Maybe you spilled coffee on your favorite shirt, missed an important deadline, or had an argument with a friend. It's so easy to get caught up in these moments, feeling like the universe is conspiring against you. But here's where the magic of the view from above comes in. Imagine you're in a hot air balloon, slowly rising up into the sky. As you ascend, the details of your life start to blur. You see your house, your neighborhood, your city, and eventually, the entire world. From up there, those little problems that seemed so huge just minutes ago, they start to look pretty tiny, don't they? This practice is all about gaining perspective. When you zoom out on your life, you start to see how small some of your problems really are in the grand scheme of things. It's like a mental reset button, helping you to refocus on what truly matters. And let me tell you, it's liberating. Now, let's get a bit personal. I remember a particular Tuesday when everything seemed to go wrong. My alarm didn't go off, my car wouldn't start, and I had this massive project due at work. I was spiraling, feeling completely overwhelmed. That's when I decided to try this view from above thing. I closed my eyes and imagined myself floating above my house, then my city. As I drifted higher, I visualized the earth itself, spinning slowly in the vastness of space. I saw all the people going about their lives, each with their own problems and stories. Suddenly, my broken car and looming deadline felt like just a tiny blip in the grand tapestry of existence. And you know what? It worked. My stress started to melt away. I felt a sense of calm wash over me. It was like I had tapped into this reservoir of inner peace that I didn't even know existed. From that high-up perspective, I could see that life would go on, and these challenges were just temporary hurdles. Another thing I love about this practice is how it helps cultivate empathy. When you're up there, looking down at the world, you realize that everyone is dealing with their own stuff. It's easy to get so wrapped up in our own problems that we forget others are struggling too. This broader view helps foster a sense of connection and compassion. Think about it, that person who cut you off in traffic? Maybe they're rushing to the hospital. The coworker who snapped at you. They could be dealing with some heavy stuff at home. Seeing things from this elevated perspective reminds us that we're all in this together, each fighting our own battles. I also started using this technique to tackle decision-making. When faced with a tough choice, I'd take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Will this decision matter in a week? A month? A year? This habit has helped me avoid a lot of unnecessary stress and make more thoughtful, deliberate choices. And here's a fun twist, you can apply this to positive experiences too. When something wonderful happens, zoom out and savor it. See how this good moment fits into the larger context of your life. It makes the joy even sweeter and helps you appreciate the good times even more. Incorporating the view from above into my daily routine was like opening a window to a new way of thinking. It's so simple, yet incredibly powerful. It's a reminder that no matter how overwhelming life gets, we always have the ability to rise above and gain perspective. So, if you're looking for a quick yet profound way to shift your mindset, give this a try. Next time you're stressed or overwhelmed, take a mental journey up into the sky and look down at your life from above. It just might change everything. Number 2, practice negative visualization. Negative visualization is all about imagining the worst-case scenarios. Yep, you heard me right. Picture those things that could go wrong. But hold on, it's not about being a pessimist. It's more like being a realistic optimist, if that makes sense. By visualizing what could potentially go wrong, you end up appreciating what you have a whole lot more. It's like when you misplace your phone and suddenly realize how crucial it is to your daily life. Except, in this case, you're doing it on purpose and with everything that matters to you. Let's say you're about to give a big presentation at work. Your mind starts racing. What if I mess up? What if I forget my lines? What if the tech fails? Now, instead of letting these thoughts paralyze you with fear, you lean into them. Imagine each scenario vividly. Feel the embarrassment of fumbling your words, the frustration of a PowerPoint that won't load, and the awkward silence of an audience waiting for you to get it together. Sounds stressful, right? But here's the twist. Once you've fully embraced these fears in your mind, something magical happens. They lose their grip on you. You start to realize that even if the worst happens, it's not the end of the world. You can handle it. You've already faced it in your mind, and now you're ready for whatever comes your way. Plus, when you step up to give that presentation and everything goes smoothly, you'll feel an immense wave of gratitude. You'll appreciate the smooth-running tech, the confident delivery of your lines, and the engaged faces of your audience. It's like a mental trick that shifts your mindset from dread to gratitude. Another angle to think about is relationships. Consider the people you hold dear, your partner, your friends, your family. Now, imagine life without them. Picture the void, the loneliness, the heartache. It's tough, but it's a powerful reminder of how important they are to you. When you see them again, you'll likely feel a renewed sense of appreciation and love. You'll hug a little tighter, listen a little more intently, and cherish the moments you have together. I tried this with my morning coffee ritual. Normally, I gulp down my coffee while scrolling through my phone, barely noticing it. But with negative visualization, I imagined a week without coffee. No rich aroma, no warm cup to start my day, no caffeine kick to wake me up. The thought was painful. So, the next morning, I took my time. I savored each sip, felt the warmth of the mug in my hands, and truly enjoyed the flavor. It turned a mundane habit into a mini celebration. This practice also works wonders for those nagging little worries. You know, the ones that keep you up at night. What if I lose my job? What if my car breaks down? What if I get sick? By proactively imagining these scenarios, you not only prepare yourself mentally but also start to think of practical solutions. If I lose my job, I can tap into my savings and start networking immediately. If my car breaks down, I've got a reliable mechanic and a good public transport system to fall back on. You're not just worrying anymore, you're strategizing. Negative visualization isn't about living in fear. It's about embracing reality, the good and the bad, and finding peace in knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. It's about appreciating what you have while being prepared for what you don't want. It's a mental exercise that, with a bit of practice, can transform your outlook on life. You become more resilient, more grateful, and oddly enough, more optimistic. Because once you've faced your fears, you realize they're not as scary as you thought. You're stronger and more capable than you ever imagined. So, give it a try this week. Embrace the what-ifs and watch your perspective shift. Number 3, journaling daily reflections. Alright, so let's talk about journaling. I know, you've probably heard it a million times, but trust me, there's a reason it's so often recommended. When I first picked up this habit, I had no idea how transformative it would be. I mean, how much can scribbling a few words on paper really change your life, right? But, boy, was I wrong. Let me take you through my journey with daily reflections and how it can work wonders for you too. First off, let's set the scene. Imagine you're winding down after a long day. You've been bombarded with meetings, errands, and the usual chaos that life throws at you. Your mind is swirling with thoughts, some good, some bad, some downright confusing. This is where journaling steps in like a superhero. Grab a notebook, any notebook, and just start writing. It doesn't have to be pretty or even make much sense at first. The point is to let your thoughts flow freely. When I started, my entries were all over the place. One day I'd be ranting about how my coffee machine betrayed me, and the next, I'd be pondering the meaning of life. But that's the beauty of it, there are no rules. You can vent, reflect, dream, plan, or just doodle if that's what your heart desires. Over time, you'll notice patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. And this, my friend, is where the magic happens. By jotting down my daily reflections, I began to see recurring themes. For example, I noticed I often felt overwhelmed by certain tasks. I realized that my stress wasn't just about the tasks themselves, but how I approached them. This awareness allowed me to strategize and tackle my workload more efficiently. Suddenly, I was no longer drowning in stress but managing it like a pro. Another cool thing about journaling is how it helps you connect with your emotions. I used to think I was pretty in touch with my feelings, but writing them down revealed layers I hadn't even considered. There's something about putting pen to paper that makes emotions more tangible. It's like having a conversation with yourself, a heart-to-heart where you can be completely honest. On the days when life felt particularly heavy, my journal became my sanctuary. I'd pour out my frustrations and, in the process, often stumble upon solutions or at least a fresh perspective. It's amazing how writing can untangle the knots in your mind. Plus, there's a sense of relief in seeing your worries laid out in front of you. They become less daunting and more manageable. But let's not forget the good stuff. Journaling isn't just for venting or solving problems, it's also a space to celebrate your wins, big or small. I made it a point to jot down at least one positive thing that happened each day. It could be anything, from acing a presentation to enjoying a delicious meal. Over time, these little nuggets of positivity add up, creating a reservoir of good vibes to draw from on tougher days. 1 week into my journaling habit, I already felt a shift. My mind was clearer, my mood lighter, and my sense of purpose stronger. It's like I had a secret weapon for navigating life's ups and downs. And the best part? It's a habit that's entirely yours. You can mold it to fit your life, your schedule, and your personality. Some days, I'd write pages and pages, while on others, just a few lines. And that's perfectly okay. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The key is consistency. Even if you only manage a couple of minutes each day, it's enough to make a difference. So, if you're looking for a habit that can genuinely change your life in just a week, give journaling a shot. Embrace the messiness, the randomness, and the honesty. Trust me, you'll uncover insights about yourself that you never knew existed. And who knows? You might just fall in love with the process, just like I did. Happy journaling! Number 4, dichotomy of control. Next, let's dive into the dichotomy of control and how it can turn your life around in just a week. This idea might sound a bit philosophical at first, but trust me, it's got some serious practical power. Picture this, you're stressing over an upcoming presentation, worrying about what your boss will think, and fretting over whether the tech will glitch. Sound familiar? Now, what if I told you that by focusing only on what you can control, you'd feel a weight lift off your shoulders? Here's the deal. The dichotomy of control is all about splitting the world into 2 buckets, things you can control and things you can't. Simple, right? But putting it into practice is where the magic happens. Let's break it down. First off, take a deep breath and grab a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On the left, jot down all the things you're stressing about that are out of your control. This could be the weather, other people's opinions, or even your past mistakes. On the right, write down what you can control: your effort, your attitude, your response to situations. When I did this exercise, it was like a light bulb went off. Suddenly, all those worries that were gnawing at me seemed less significant. I realized that I had been wasting so much energy on things I couldn't change. Now, let's say you're gearing up for that big presentation. Instead of spiraling into a vortex of what-ifs, focus on what you can do. You can prepare thoroughly, practice your speech, and make sure your slides are top-notch. When you shift your energy to these controllable factors, you're not only more productive but also way calmer. This isn't just about work. The dichotomy of control applies to every nook and cranny of life. Relationships, for instance. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you react. When someone snaps at you, you have the power to choose your response. You can lash out, or you can stay calm and try to understand where they're coming from. This simple shift in mindset can prevent so many unnecessary conflicts and bring a sense of peace. And let's talk about the real kicker: social media. Oh boy, social media can be a minefield of comparison and stress. Scrolling through endless highlight reels can make you feel like you're constantly falling short. But here's the twist: you can't control what others post or how many likes they get. What you can control is how much time you spend on these platforms and how you let them affect you. Set some boundaries, follow accounts that uplift you, and remember that everyone's life looks a lot messier behind the scenes. In just a week of practicing the dichotomy of control, you'll start to notice a change. You'll feel lighter, more focused, and oddly enough, more in control. It's like decluttering your mind. By letting go of the things you can't change, you make space for what truly matters. I remember a moment when this really hit home for me. I was stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. My initial reaction was to stress out, but then I remembered the dichotomy of control. I couldn't do anything about the traffic, but I could control how I spent that time. So, I turned on a podcast I'd been meaning to listen to and arrived at the meeting a bit more informed and a lot less frazzled. This shift in mindset doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. Quite the opposite. By focusing on what you can control, you become more proactive and resilient. You start to see challenges as opportunities to practice your skills and grow. So, give it a try. Next time you're feeling overwhelmed, pause and sort your worries into those two buckets. It might seem small, but this habit can ripple out into every part of your life, making you calmer, more focused, and ultimately, happier. And who doesn't want that? Number 5, focus on what you can control. Picture this: you're in a boat, rowing through a storm. The waves are monstrous, the sky's dark, and it feels like the whole world is out to get you. Now, you can spend all your energy cursing the storm, or you can grip those oars tighter and row like your life depends on it. Guess which one's more productive? So, here I am, a few months back, neck deep in stress about things that were way out of my control. Work deadlines, people's opinions, unpredictable weather, you name it, I was stressing over it. Then, I stumbled upon a little nugget of wisdom from the Stoics: focus on what you can control. It sounded simple, almost too simple, but I decided to give it a shot. What did I have to lose? Day 1 was all about awareness. I started paying attention to my thoughts, which, let me tell you, were all over the place. Anytime I caught myself fretting over something like a late email reply or the stock market, I stopped. I asked myself, can I control this? More often than not, the answer was a big, fat no. This realization was like a weight off my shoulders. I mean, why waste mental energy on things that are completely beyond my reach? By the middle of the week, this mindset started to shift how I handled my day-to-day activities. Take my morning routine, for instance. Instead of rushing around and stressing about the traffic, which, spoiler alert, I couldn't control, I focused on what I could. I got up a bit earlier, enjoyed my coffee without checking my phone, and left the house with a clear, calm mind. The result? I felt less frazzled and more in control of my day. Work was another battlefield where this principle made a huge difference. Let's face it, the workplace is filled with unpredictable elements, from last-minute project changes to the moods of colleagues. Instead of getting worked up about these external factors, I zeroed in on my actions and reactions. I organized my tasks, prioritized what was important, and approached my work with a sense of calm determination. If something went sideways, I adapted and moved on, rather than dwelling on the frustration. Personal relationships saw a transformation too. I used to be a bit of a people pleaser, constantly worrying about what others thought of me. But during this week, I started focusing on my own behavior and responses. I can't control if someone has a bad day or if they misinterpret my words, but I can control how I express myself and how I respond to them. This shift not only eased my anxiety but also improved my interactions with others. I was more present, more authentic. Now, let's talk about the unexpected bonus, mental clarity. With less mental clutter about uncontrollable things, my mind felt sharper. I found myself being more creative, more focused. It's like decluttering a messy room. Suddenly, you have space to breathe, think, and create. Of course, this wasn't some magic cure-all. There were moments of slip-ups and old habits trying to creep back in. But the beauty of this principle is its simplicity and flexibility. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, I reminded myself of the basics. Can I control this? If the answer was no, I let it go. By the end of the week, I felt like a different person. The stormy seas were still there, but my boat felt steadier. I wasn't wasting energy on the waves, I was directing it towards rowing, towards progress. Focusing on what I could control didn't just change my week, it changed my entire approach to life. It's a habit that, once you start, you realize just how much unnecessary weight you were carrying. So, grab those oars and start rowing. You've got this. And that wraps up the habits that have transformed my life in just 1 week through the power of Stoicism. If you found these insights valuable, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from a dose of Stoic wisdom. Remember, it's not about the drastic changes but the small, consistent habits that lead to profound transformation. So, what Stoic habit are you going to start implementing today? Drop a comment below and let's inspire each other on this journey. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our weekly dives into Stoicism and how it can enrich our lives. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay stoic and keep striving for a life of virtue and tranquility. See you soon.